So it's been a while. It's been more than a few minutes to give you an update on the project. If you remember what the project is, the Catfish Camaro. And a lot of little things have added up to a lot of progress. So it's time to talk about it. Now stick with me till after the update, and we got a little surprise. God, it's 8:30 in the morning, it's already hot as hell. So hopefully I can remember everything I've done, because I'm kind of doing this off the cuff. But if you recall, the 99 V6 Catfish that I once owned before, sold it and got it back a few months ago, and have been fixing it up for the wife. And I've been doing a little bit here and there. You know, there's not a lot of money available to work on it, so I do what I can, and I really haven't spent very much money at all. The most expensive piece so far has been the fuel pump, obviously. And there's a playlist with the couple of other videos I've done, so if you're curious about that, go check it out. But let's kind of go over the, let's try to go over the list, bring you up to speed. So just starting here with the big stuff. Fuel pump. Working great. I've not yet put the cover back on it, so that's on the to-do list. And that got it running. Now here on the inside, again, lots of work to do in here, but one of the biggest things that seemed to help in here was replacing all of the fuses. That resolved several weird, quirky electrical things. Now, oops, what the hell? The hell is just the hood, damn it. There we go. All right, so welcome back to Under the Hood. Now, what I did do after getting fuel pump installed, you recall I cranked it up and it was running badly. Sounds like ass. Turned out to be a cylinder 5 misfire that I worked on. And I'd like to thank the engineers that designed this to put everything like way in the back that I had to get to. Of course, cylinder 5 is on the back side of the driver's side, which made it very fun to troubleshoot. You know, I tested for spark all the way down to the plug, which it had. Changed that spark plug. I know you're supposed to change them all, but you know, I can only do one. That didn't resolve the issue. I still had the misfire. So I decided to move an injector, move the cylinder 5 injector to another cylinder, and I hoped that the error would follow, but it didn't. It went away. So I don't know what the deal was with that injector. I didn't do anything to it except remove it. I don't know if the fuel rail was clogged on that side. I don't know, but now, at that point, when you crank it up, it would run smooth as butter, minus the rattle in the catalytic converter. And then, of course, when it got up to temp, that's when it started to run rough. I mean, really rough. Ass rough. And I didn't know what that was about. And researching that, the first thing kept coming up was a vacuum leak, which, okay, all right, vacuum leak. I'm looking around, and now I can't put the big camera on this, but I can put it back here. So, back there, what am I looking at? Yeah, so back at the map sensor, there's a vacuum line that goes around the back side of the plenum over to, if you can see it, I can't tell, the fuel pressure regulator. And, okay, well, I found my vacuum leak. It's great. So, fixed that line, and it just ran awful. Didn't make a bit of difference. Even when it was cold, when it used to run well when it was cold, it was running like complete shit. So what the hell? And then, so I pulled that vacuum line from the fuel pressure regulator. Where am I at? Over, what the hell? I need more light back here. That fuel pressure regulator back there, that one back there. Pulled the vacuum line off of that side, and I had fuel in it. Well, that's not right. I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty sure that's not the way that's supposed to be. So I've replaced that fuel pressure regulator, and it has resolved that problem. Because, I mean, my fuel trims were like, on my code reader, my fuel trims were running at plus 19.5% before I fixed that. Now they're, you know, 0 at idle and then a little bit negative, you know, under load, which is fine. But I'm now getting an O2 sensor, bank 1, sensor 1, I think it is, 0194 code, which I got to get under there and look next. And it doesn't happen all the time. It's intermittent, so I don't know if it's a wiring problem or, you know, bad sensor or whatever. So that's next on the list. Let's see, what else have I done? So when it was, well, I initially got it running, I noticed that when it got up to temp, it would start to leak from those stupid, not that bypass line, but the bypass line, that bypass elbow under there. Now, I had already replaced these before when I owned the car before, and it was leaking again, so I replaced them again, so there's no coolant leak. Seems to run pretty fine now, and that may be all I've really done. I mean, I've cleaned up in here some. You may recall all of the pine needles and leaves and everything else, you know, so I came in here with a vacuum and did some cleaning up, so it's a little more presentable. It's not dressy at all, of course, but those things have seemed to be resolved. And which brings us to now. We're going to drive it. Now, to be fair, I have driven it once already, down and around the block and whatnot, to see what's going on, and it revealed a couple more things, but it's good enough to drive and show you what it's been doing. So I think I'm even going to take the T-tops out, and we'll go for this little drive and get this over with. So you may notice the wheels and tires. It's a guy in the car club. Special thanks to Brian for letting me borrow those wheels and tires so I can drive this thing around and get a better feel for what it still needs. And of course, the reason for needing wheels and tires is, yeah, I got a couple tires like that. And that one's working on it. There we go. Oh, look at that. All right, it's fun time. Wouldn't be a Gym Rage video without the customary Mountain Dew amp. B vitamins, caffeine, 220 calories, and a little kick. I think it tastes better than regular Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew amp. Try it. I'll turn the AC off because that puts out a lot of noise. I used to have it. So, during this drive, I would like you to listen as much as you can to engine noise and whatnot, because I know you guys out there know a lot more than I do. And just let me know what you hear. Right now, RPMs are steady, but it sounds rough, and I think that's just the catalytic converter. 1500 RPM sounds great. And I've got the scanner hooked up, so after we go around, I'm gonna bring up the live data and let you guys look at it, and maybe let me know in the comments, you know, what seems off for this car, if you know. That'd be a real big help as well. So yeah, the brakes will stop the car, but they're not great, so obviously that's got to be done. And this vehicle's not road legal registration, all that, so we'll just go around the neighborhood. The best we can do is go out to the entrance and the road that runs by it. We can get it up to 30 or 40 there for a short distance, but let's just listen. I hear squeaks in the chassis, so I believe those are squeaks in the chassis. So it's a good old-fashioned lube job. Now, one thing I did have happen once or twice on the initial test drive was it just shut off, and I think that's related to the O2 sensor. God, there's a lot of little squeaks. I hope you guys can hear that. And this is something I really like about riding with the T-tops out versus a convertible. I mean, convertibles are nice. I wouldn't want to own one. But I guess the feeling of being partially enclosed yet open to the air, I guess this is just a different experience. Although I do see I got a nasty shadow from the T-bar here. That's not really helping the audio or the video part of this. So now, this is the longest stretch of regular road I have, so I'm going to open it up a little bit. That's up to 45. Now obviously I'm not breaking any records on power. I'm not going to be impressing too many people. Although this car does look good driving by, in my opinion. So we're just going to go and turn around and do that one more time and then head back. Listen to this. .45 again. Again, not completely smooth, but for sitting around for 6 years and for what little bit I've had to do to it, it's not bad. I don't know if it's road reliable yet. It's probably not, except to run up to the store or something. But right now I'm pretty happy with it. So let me do this. I'm going to pull over here and I'm going to hold up the scanner with the live data, at least a couple pages, and you guys can just let me know if something looks off. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. So, all right, here's page 1 of the live data. Short fuel trim at -6, minus. It varies. It's less than, oh, now it's going back to 0. So, damn, I don't know if you can see that. I'll zoom it in. Again, I'll screenshot it and zoom it in where you can read it. There we go, it's that one. Just being honest too, I'm not by no means an expert on this scanner. So we're back up the first page. I don't smell gas, but it does smell like maybe something's burning off. Yeah, so it is showing the code 0154 for the O2 sensor circuit. Hopefully that's just wire damage. But with the age of the car and how it's been sitting, it's probably the sensor itself. So, there we go. With that all being said, I'm going to drive it back to the house. You guys let me know in the comments if you see anything in that data or if you have any advice. I'll be looking forward to that. But until next time, I'm JR and I am out. So I get back and this little guy, he's riding up top. I don't know where he came from, but yeah, there's a lot of wildlife right in my garage area. I'll tell you what else I'm going to find.